Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests joining us this morning.
Yes, indeed.
Mandy B and Wheezy from Horrible Decisions.
They
Good morning,
are
ladies.
horrible decisions. They're not from, they are horrible decisions.
Horrible decision.
Someone else is a horrible decision in here. And you be doing some too, right?
I'm not. Listen, you guys are not horrible decisions. You have a show called Horrible
There
Decisions.
we go.
So you
There
guys
we
are
go.
making decisions.
That is a good question. Where did that name come from?
I mean, it's a pun. It's a play on the
Okay.
word whore, right? But Mandy and I were trying to come up with a name for like a fun podcast that had to do with sex but liberation, and so horrible is just a play on the word. And I wanted to call it a horrible night, and she was like, "No."
Nah,
'Cause
because
we
we
do
have
it
a
all the
lot.
time.
We have a lot of horrible nights.
True.
Some
mornings.
horrible decisions.
You know what I love about Mandy and Wheezy? They represent the essence of what podcasts are. Because both of y'all come from the corporate world, right?
Yeah, I was an accountant. So I worked at Goldman and EY. I did public accounting for a little over 2 years and got my degrees. And she was in tech. And then here we are on the weekends. I was literally going into my job from like just having fun, like buying clothes at H&M to go into the office because that's that's the kind of lifestyle.
She's not gonna want to say this, but our first episode really came about because we were like,
Jesus.
man, what could we talk about? And at the time, there was a condom stuck inside of Mandy. And I said, oh my God, that's happened to me too.
What?
And see, it's happened to so many women, right? But we're not necessarily talking about it or putting it on Front Street, but to sit in the office with one up there and then you got to go to the gyno. So that was the birth of our first episode. And although in the beginning it was trivial and kind of embarrassing to tell the stories, over time, women were excited to like join in those stories with us. So.
Yeah.
How do condoms get stuck in one's vagina?
They just slide right off. Men don't know
Charlamagne has
maybe
had
the
that problem.
size.
I don't know if you guys know. Charlamagne has had that problem too. He talked to me many times about that, but go ahead.
Generally, it happens when a
condom
condom's
gets stuck in
too big for you.
You said what, Angela?
Wait, so Envy and Charlamagne, you guys had a condom issue too?
Anyway, Mandy and Wheezy. So the condom, right? So what? Because that would seem like, why would a condom fall off?
Well, men are like so focused on wearing condoms that are too big for them or buying the biggest one.
They just love to pull out that gold wrapper.
In reality, it's way more unsafe because there's too much room and a bunch of juices could get in, which could lead to STDs. So you really should be wearing one that's fit for you. But when you're not and it slides off, it gets stuck somewhere.
It gets stuck. We have a whole bunch of holes and crevices and dips
Yeah.
and turns up in there. So yeah, it didn't come out for 2 days. So we went to the gyno, got tested, and then they had to pull the condom out.
Let me tell you, when you Google it, there are a lot of things that pop up. It's like bear down. I've squatted on top of the sink. I didn't know what to do.
So it has nothing to do with size.
When you call your gyno, and what do you say? I'm just curious. Hey, Doc, what's going on? Hey, how you feeling?
They've heard everything at the
Hey,
gynecologist.
there's a condom stuck in my pussy. Help.
Yeah, they've heard everything, so you can never be ashamed to say anything to your gynecologist. There's
She
nothing
was-
that you'll ever say.
She was
that I
like,
haven't heard before.
don't worry, this isn't the worst thing that's been up there. And mind you, Mandy and I go to this place. Shout out to the free walk-in gyno on 57th, I think in 7th. So make sure you get your health check there. But it has this small partition, and I'm telling her, and Mandy can hear me, I'm like, yeah, my friend's in the next room. She's got something stuck, but I'm just here for a pat. And, that was the birth of horrible decisions. We knew we made it from there.
That
What does your
was-
doctor tell you though? He'd be like, "This too shall pass," and you just gotta wait till the condom slides
Pretty much. I mean, I've had my friends take like makeup sponges out. Like, I mean,
Makeup sponges.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story though, and we talk about that on the pod as well.
A makeup sponge in your vagina?
So it's supposed to cause a barrier for your uterus when you're bleeding, and a lot of sex workers or strippers use it so that they could still work, but it shouldn't be used for sex. You should just give it a few days.
It shouldn't.
Or
I
power
couldn't
through.
wait.
Why not just cut the tampon string?
Well, no, because I've had a friend have a tampon stuck as well. Like, there's a lot of things. Yeah, you can't do that.
That sounds so gross.
Vaginas are complicated.
They're
I mean,
very
hey.
complicated.
But we do all this stuff so we can, I mean, Ange, have you ever had something stuck up there?
Listen, I was going to say with the condom thing, we call that sagnums when guys wear condoms that are
Sagnums.
Yes. But I think what I think happens is it's not just that, it's also when guys actually ejaculate, the condom, they get smaller, and sometimes they come out and the condom stays in.
It's when you're a grower, not a shower.
Right, and then you have to actually let the guy get it out for you. That's kind of like what you're supposed to do. He's supposed
Girl,
to
he
go
pulled
and-
out his cell phone, had the flashlight.
That's
we
the
could not
worst.
find it. I swear.
I had the same. It made me feel like, I'm like, it's not the black hole. I mean, it is, but it ain't.
Y'all realize you didn't answer the question though, right? Y'all realize y'all asked you.
I was explaining to you what happened.
He was really good at this, okay?
But I did sometimes think that I had a tampon stuck in me because I had sex the night before and I knew I was on my period and I woke up in the morning like, where is it? But I guess at some point I took it out or he took it out. But I did go to the doctor because I didn't know where it was. And the doctor was like, there's nothing here.
So
it's
many
fine.
people lose
But-
tampons. They're not sure if they took it out or maybe you were drinking. You're like, where did I put it? Is it in me? That's the worst. If you have to ask, is it in me? It's not big enough.
The tampon or the
And
penis?
I had
Both.
with one of my friends who used to co-host Lip Service. She actually got a tampon stuck in her for days, and she didn't know it was in there, and so her boyfriend told her that she stinks.
My
And
friend,
so she went to the doctor.
that happened to my friend
I had
as well.
been in there for a month.
That's toxic shock. Is it too early to be talking
No,
about this?
that happened.
Let's get back to dick.
That happened to Tiffany Haddish. She got toxic shock. What's it called?
Toxic shock
shock.
syndrome.
Yeah,
She shared, she was on actually Clubhouse talking about her experience with that. So much so to where she was on like set and she said like, I won't put another tampon in me. She only wears pads. Like she came on Clubhouse and shared that story. It was really, really dope.
Well, I'm glad we all know about Tiffany's vagina.
Now listen, has the podcast Horrible Decisions had any like negative impact on y'all romantic relationships?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Like, not that my wholeness has been deleted, but I am just a hoe for one person. And I've been in a relationship for almost a year, and I'm so happy. But I didn't know that it would have been possible. Not with this show. No.
I mean, I fell in love with someone that in the end of it was just like, I can't be with you with this job. And he met me because he liked my job at first, right? Was a fan of the show. But I think really what happens is just, it's not necessarily what the men I date think of me or the women. It's more so what everyone else has to say. People can't handle that pressure, but that's a confidence issue, a security issue. You know, I actually had someone mention Ange to me before. It was this girl I dated. She was like, well, Lip Service, like you could do a sex podcast and just interview people. You don't have to put your business on Front Street. But I think that's what's so cool about the two things, right? Like one podcast is so good at getting celebrities and other people to tell their intimate details, but we're popular because we share our own, you know, and it's difficult, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is.
I mean, we've gone on tour though, and we've met so many women who like come and say we changed their lives as far as their confidence, as far as their relationship. We've saved them in the bedroom, and so I really think it's important what we do, and not to be ashamed. I think there is a lot of shame around sex. So when we come in talking about kinks and opening the idea of non-traditional, non-monogamous type of relationships, we're opening the eyes to a lot of things that we weren't even taught growing up. I think that is just really, really, really important.
I wonder if
And I think for Black women in particular, there's a lot more of a stigma about talking about sex. Like white women can get away with it a lot more.
Absolutely.
But as Black women,
that's true.
Yeah.
you know, they're like, you're a whore. Why is she talking like that? She's disgusting. No man. And
Or you're
you know,
fast.
that's why I started Lip Service, just because I felt like Black women didn't really have the space to talk about, you know, things that were happening.
I mean, that's
Weezy.
that's the trailblazing thing. You know what I mean? Like you're a pioneer for talking about sex for people of color, right? Because we've got Dr. Ruth and a bunch of white girls that jumped out and said it, but we're not doing anything new. We're just doing it in a different way, right? Because there's so many celebrities and or sex workers that talk about sex, but to see girls that got a 9 to 5 and oh, I had a threesome last night and here I am in the office. Like that's really our lives. Now we're just entrepreneurs that do it, but
Yeah.
so not the office.
That's
but.
funny because that's actually how it started. When I started it as Sirius, it was like a receptionist, a lawyer, a doctor, but they had fake names. And I know you guys didn't want people to know where you worked or anything at first.
We got
too.
fake names too, technically.
Yeah, we had fake names
So
too.
they all had fake names, but they would talk about things. It was kind of showing how like regular girls with 9 to 5s have sex, whether you're a receptionist, a lawyer, a doctor, and have experiences that we should be able to share and talk about and be comfortable with doing that.
Receptionists too get flued out, man. I'm
They
telling
sure
you.
do. I was getting flued out too.
I used to tell my boss, like, I'm not feeling well. No, I think they knew I wasn't shit. But
you know, to your point, you know, even in the podcast space, right? You got podcasts like Guys I Fucked and Call Me Daddy and those white
I love
women
that
can
you
talk
fucked up
about.
both of those names. I just
What
love
was
it.
it? That's
You
not the
totally
names?
fucked up both their names, but it's cool. Keep going.
No, that's not the name for real.
Guys We Fucked and
What
Call
I
Her
call
Daddy.
Her daddy.
Now, Guys We Fucked has been around a long time,
Yes,
right?
I've been on the podcast.
They're definitely
Yeah.
podcast OGs, but
again-
Advertisers aren't afraid of them,
No.
even
Because
though
they're
they talk
white.
about sex and they're white, but they're like, even though y'all
you
numbers
should
are crazy.
talk about that experience with the Black Effect with us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Horrible Decisions does crazy numbers, but advertisers act like they're scared of Horrible Decisions, and I'm like, why? It's two black women talking about sex, but you advertise with Call Me Daddy, you advertise with Guys We Fuck, like that's just. If that's not bias, I don't know what is.
The ideas we bring to the table, like, I mean, we had an episode where a trans woman came on with a man who claimed he was transphobic. And by the end of it, he was hugging her like, you're my sister. Like, we really try to break barriers and show things in a different way.
Yeah, we also do, we focus too on kinks. Like, we want to destigmatize the concept of kinks, specifically in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had someone who is into a diaper fetish. We've had someone who's come in and...
Excuse me? What is the diaper fetish?
ABDL, it's a adult baby diaper life, some shit.
Yeah.
But what I know is he basically, and he was so eloquent, which made it even better. Because you can't have nobody come on and be like, yeah, I want to shit in my diaper. Now,
He likes to shit in a diaper and have his wife
I think
change
it's pee.
No, he said he's pooped in a diaper too. And then she
Day
takes...
with the diaper on. The
Well,
whole
he
day
wears
walks
it to the gym.
He
He wore it
wears
to
it.
our episode. He loves the feeling of it.
He buys adult diapers, and so we talked about that. We've talked about, of course, on a more vanilla scale, of course, the foot fetish lovers. We've had that on it. And then
Golden showers, even.
Would you guys date somebody that wore a diaper all day long and just wanted to shit and have their?
Well, I don't like I like dating dominant men
Same.
and submissive women, but
What does that mean?
like to me, putting on a diaper is somehow a humiliation fetish,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, and it's
so
just
if I
very
want someone
submissive.
in power, like it wouldn't turn me on. But I mean, no shade to it, you know.
He wants you to wear the diaper. Put this on.
I ain't gonna
Now-
hold you. I would put on a diaper. I'm a pleaser. So when I'm with my partner, I would try a lot of things. And I'm now getting more into being a sub. I was super dumb.
You would put a
for-
diaper on.
If he want to do it, sure. He would have to, like,
Would you Google?
Yeah, but I would love him maybe to put on like one of those furry butt plugs too, and walk around with like a little foxtail
What
or
the fuck
something.
is a furry blood? What?
So it basically has a tail at the end of it so that you can see that there's something up there. Just a little extra additive. You know
Like
what I
when
mean?
Mario gets the leaf and the ears and the
Oh
tail
my
come out of
God.
Mario.
It's kind
Yeah.
of like an
Yes.
ornament for your ass,
There we go.
Really?
like some decoration.
It's an accessory, the same way you wear watches and
Where
shit.
can you find one?
Where can you find one? There's I'm trying to think of a black-owned sex brand, Erotic Boudoir. I don't know if they sell it, but
Over Kink Shop, like there's definitely a lot of black-owned brands. That's the thing too that we love to bring. Like again, everyone has sex. I think we've been grown up to where we can't really talk about it. So I love that we're in this space, and now there are a lot of black-owned sex toy brands and people getting the space where they're comfortable talking about
we
it.
used to make the joke that the reason we do this show is because we're not trying to show that it's WPS, white people shit, because black people do it too. Really, the diaper took me over the top. I was like, wow, I can't believe niggas are really out here.
Yeah.
A
The
crazy
diapers.
episode, we had Dallas Penn just walk in the studio back in the day, and he comes in, he's like, oh, y'all talk about sex? You know, I like feet. And when I used
worked
to
at
Marshalls, he said he used to stick his penis inside of shoes, ejaculate onto the shoe. I know we're on the radio. I'm trying to make it as nice as I can.
He used to nut in the shoe.
At
Okay.
Marshalls.
And then what do you do with the shoe after? You sell the shoe after?
He
Yup.
would sell those shoes after, so please beware when you're buying
Them
shoes.
Calvin
out of the store.
Kleins, whatever got a sticker on it. If it's a sticky sticker.
How long ago was this? Because the statute of limitations can't be up on that.
No, this was like 3 years ago.
No, this is
He
about 3 years.
didn't do that at Saks, right? Ever?
No, he said
No,
Marshalls.
He said Marshalls.
Okay, good. Just checking.
How dare you come in Fendi? But
You get some negative karma when you do stuff like that.
honestly, like, people had to get off. That's why, like, having a safe place for it, like, places like sex clubs and things like that, to be able to do your kink in a shameless way is great. Or else that's when you do get the freaks that are coming in shoes at Marshalls.
Now, what about the time y'all had that girl on the show who got a train ran on her by the cast of Star Wars?
So that was a recent episode. Shout out to Tiana. That's a friend of mine. Well, no. So for her birthday, it was her 30th birthday, and she wanted to be gangbang. She wanted to be penetrated by all of the guests at her party. She wanted to make it to 30 people, but she only made it to 22, and they each got 2 minutes to penetrate her with either their fingers, a dildo, or her penis, while she had her man standing in front of her.
When
30th
did Star
birthday.
Wars come into play?
Oh, the lightsaber. Someone used a lightsaber.
Oh, instead
You know
of
what?
their penis?
Yeah,
That's why she stopped. That's why she ain't make it to 30.
She said her man was in front of her the whole time with his penis in her mouth. So she felt very connected to him. I just want to say my 30th birthday is tomorrow, and I won't be doing anything but seeing my grandma. So
Hey, happy born
get
day
a lightsaber
week.
out.
That was a
Did she do this during the pandemic?
No, this is pre-COVID.
Okay, I just want to make sure people have masks on while this is happening.
I mean, there's sex clubs going on right
There
now.
sure is. They give you
and-
sanitizer.
at the door.
Is that
They
like,
squirt a little on your hand.
Is that a cuckold gangbang?
Cuckolding.
That would be kind of cuckold.
It wouldn't really be cuckolding because generally with cuckolding, someone's sitting and watching. Cucking is when you have no involvement, but if her man was with her in there, then no, it wouldn't be any cuckolding in there.
What is cuck?
A cuckold is someone that enjoys watching their partner have sex with someone else. Or you can be a cuck queen, right? Women can enjoy the same thing, or you can sit and watch and take pleasure in that. I think there's a lot of fun in jealousy. I think from a more vanilla point.
What?
For example, let's say you're at a bar and you with your wife or your girl, right? And maybe you're far away and you see someone holler at her. You might enjoy knowing that someone else thinks she's attractive and she's coming home with you. That's a very vanilla way. Or you're watching at a gangbang party. Either or we're all the same.
The way my insecurity set up.
That's not the same. That's not the same.
The way your insecurity said you couldn't do it.
Envy, do you like though? I mean, your wife's really pretty. Like, do you not get happy that like other people look at her in the street? Like, some part of you might take pleasure in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like my wife when she looks beautiful. I like when people try to kick it to her, but not sticking penises in her.
Yeah, my ego too fragile for all that. There's no way I could watch my.
I can. I love that. So me and my partner are swingers, and that's something like I enjoy other people giving him away and then him
What if he's
leaving
too
with
happy?
me.
Like, what if he's going too hard and you're like, no, it really looks like he likes her.
So that is that's a rule. He doesn't finish with them. He finishes with me.
That's your
Really?
rule.
That's a rule that he's played. Like he's added.
How does he control his nut?
Because he's a grown ass man.
Really?
Yes.
That's when you lose. That's when you lose the most control.
Actually,
once you
to
get
be
grown.
fair, if it's new cooch, that is kind of surprising because most men can't hold it for
But
like
his new cooch with a condom, he could control it.
So who's this white man you dating, man? Who's this
I am
Caucasian?
dating a beautiful black man. Thank you very
Really?
much. Yes, I am.
Andy doesn't date white guys.
I've never been with a white man in my life.
Mandy loves
What?
to take pride in that. She's never had a pink penis. And if you're a white man in the presence of Mandy, she'd be like, I never had white dick.
Yeah, sorry.
They'd be
white
like,
guys
okay,
in the
ma'am,
room.
here's your Uber delivery.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's black, and that's what again, like the lifestyle, what we talk about again.
But that's the thing. Black people do it too. They just they're not doing it because we assume it.
Yeah.
I'm the same, right? Like with the black girl who told us that story, I'm like, now, where is he from? England or what
She
kind of
said
white
the
man
same
do you
thing,
have?
and he was a black man as well, who I had met. I met both of them at a sex club.
I think it's just this weird, antiquated way of how our minds work. Like, I don't know if any of my white friends ever had that experience, but my mom was telling me, like, you can't be a hoe, you can't wear this or you're a hoe, you can't do this or you're a hoe, and look at me now.
I mean, you're still a hoe. No, I'm
But
just
how would y'all define a hoe though? I don't know if I like the word hoe.
So whore by definition at first had to do with the sale of sex, right? Prostitution. But now it's kind of changed, right? We say Instagram hoe or video hoes, and it's just a girl that we think is promiscuous. But promiscuity, by that definition, is someone that has sex with a lot of people with no feelings. So, I mean, what if these quote unquote hoes are having sex with people they like? I mean, I've been called a hoe walking down the street with a skirt on, right? I've been called a hoe at work with a suit on.
I was
like,
called a hoe in middle school before I did anything. So I
Really?
mean, I think that even just specifically being a voluptuous woman as well, your curves, you're automatically assumed to be
sure.
promiscuous because of the shape of your body. And so we kind of wanted to take that word and make it ours, kind of like, we did with the N-word. Like, we
Yeah.
use it amongst ourselves, and we have power to it now, and no one can use it against us.
And I
I
just
think
want to
that's
say,
what we do.
a lot of people will like write "what up, ho," or like some dudes will say that and say things like that, assuming that they can speak to me that way. But much like the N-word or much like saying bitch, like if I say when I see Ange, what's that bitch? Like she knows that there's some love and camaraderie in that. Like you can use the word with each other if it's for each other. Like
Yeah.
I don't want anybody on the street
still
just walking up and saying that, and I don't feel like I've given the platform to make them feel like they can do that. We try to present sex respectably in some way. I don't know.
It's always been a hypocritical word though, because guys will be like, I don't love them hoes, but then they'll be like, where the hoes at?
Oh, and they love them hoes.
Exactly.
What'd you say,
They sure
Ange?
do.
Guys, hoes be winning. No, we did have a conversation about that on the Breakfast Club. We were talking about how for women, we can call each other, hey, bitch, but guys, y'all can't really be like, hey bitch. It just sounds different.
absolutely not. And there's actually a bar in Miami called Bacon Bitch or Bar Bacon or
Bacon Bitch.
Bacon Bitch, and that's what they do. They walk up and say, "Hey bitches, what would you like?" And there was just a whole conversation because well, men in the way you say it. Again, I think delivery has a lot more to do with it as well. The same way.
Oh, the instance that she's talking about that happened was there was a man videotaping one of the waitresses there, and she said, "Hey, bitch, welcome to Bacon Bitch," and he was like, "Bitch, go get me this," and just talking to her so derogatory. And I mean, I think it's
all in delivery.
Yeah, it is. Delivery.
But you kind of open the door for that, though, right? And it'll always be somebody who'll take it too far.
I think, to be honest, it's maturation. Like, for example, I've had instances where I've come on Brilliant Idiots and said certain things about my sex life, and there's people in the comments that feel liberated by it, and something like she's a effing whole, a slut this, she's going to get ovarian cancer, random stuff. Like, I just feel like, God, they want me to die for hoeing. But then there's people that are taking understanding, and just like this interview, right? Mandy and I talked last night, and she's like, oh my God, what are people going to think of us? And it's like, should we even care? There's someone that'll be touched by this and want to listen to horrible decisions and think it's fun, but it's whoever your audience is. There's some people that aren't ready for that. And there are men even, right? They'll say, if you've had sex with a certain amount of people, you're loose. Well, what about the girl that's had a 10-year marriage? Is she loose? Not understanding how the vagina's a muscle, things like that. Honestly, I'm too eloquent on my shit to be bothered by it.
I agree.
Yeah, I remember when you was on Brilliant Idiots and you said you slept with
All right. Hey, Mom. Honestly, I slept with a lot of girls in my last relationship. Like, a lot. Like, every time we went to Last Lap, I was having sex with a new chick. It was pretty bad.
What is Last Lap?
It's just a bar in the Lower East Side that I was going to. Honestly, it's a black bar, black-owned bar, right? And it's just
so that makes sense.
It's just people. It's my demographic, okay? And it was girls that knew horrible decisions, and they were lit. So that kind of took my tally up from probably 40
so you
to
go in
70.
there and you just pick your choice ahead.
As long as the bar was black owned, that's all that matters.
And that's
Thanksgiving at your house. What does your mom say? Does your moms and your family listen to the podcast?
so.
Our moms have been on
Our moms have been on the
it.
show.
My mom loves Charlamagne. I don't know
Weezy
why.
Mama fine.
Oh no, my mama too. My mom went. My mom actually came with me to the to a Brilliant Idiots live show, and you and Timberlands listen. She was just like, "Oh my God, look how he wears his jeans." And I said, "Mom, please stop." I have a white mom, but no, I mean both of our moms have been truly supportive. They've been to our live shows when we were on tour. They've both been on our shows. My mom shared a story about giving a man a heart attack in the middle of sex and having to dress him before the ambulance
My
came.
mom had sex with a man that's legs came off later. It was bad.
Whoa, y'all don't feed by story.
Can't tell nobody.
These are all on our
Let's go to the
podcast.
heart attack first. We got to hit a heart attack.
I never heard this heart attack one.
So my mom was having sex with her partner at the time, and I mean, she's older. He was an older man, and he had a heart attack in the middle of sex, and so she called 911, of course, but she didn't want him to be naked when they came, so she didn't tell them what they were actually doing. So she got him dressed while he was there, and she's a nurse, so I'm sure she was still trying to make sure he was alive. And then when the ambulance came, like, she just said that he just had a heart attack. She didn't share that it was in the middle of sex.
Did he die?
No, he didn't die, thankfully. I don't think my mom would have ever been able to have sex again.
Maybe he's listening right now.
I wonder, did they have sex again? Did your mom have sex with that guy again?
Yeah, no. She got that killer pussy.
I'd be scared of that.
She couldn't wait to say that.
Wait a minute now. And also, your mom fucked somebody's legs off?
Oh, so my mom was an old Studio 54 girl. She was one of the few black people in there, so I felt like everybody wanted to hit. But she said she was out with this guy. She said, he had a cane. He told me something happened in the ward, but he was fine. So she went to his place, and she said he had a little limp, but like it was cute. And so she said they had sex, and when they woke up, he asked her if she wanted breakfast, and she was like, yeah. She said he hobbled right out.
Wait, she said she heard a click,
Oh,
click.
click. He clicked his legs off. That's right. So, I don't know, maybe back in the 70s, who knows? But, yeah, he clicked his leg off. She called him click, click. And she said she watched him walk to the kitchen with, shout out, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone who's disabled, by the way. We've had visually impaired, disabled people on our show. Like, yeah. I just think the click, click shit.
Did she say he put it down?
She said she don't remember. She said I must have been high if I let that happen.
Do you think that as times have changed from when we first started the podcast until now, that people have gotten a lot more politically correct or had issues
Oh
with
man,
anything?
we've had
yeah,
issues.
we've had issues just even with conversations again. So like we're not sex experts. We didn't go to school for this. We've literally grown into just learning as we go. We started this podcast 4 years ago, and over this time of learning, I mean, from the Me Too movement to the correct pronouns and the trans plight and what they experience, we've been called transphobic. We've been, and that's just from an interview that we had with someone else, but without checking them. So, I mean, we've done a lot of education on the back end as well, just to make sure we're educating ourselves. We don't want ever to offend anyone, but we are also learning with our audience.
We're
a
like
lot.
unofficial sex educators,
There we
right?
go.
We're really learning with the audience a lot of times. Like we had on someone who was non-binary, and just the way our brains are working, we want to maybe say the word she or whatever it is without respecting that like this may be triggering for them. And to be honest, I was really embarrassed that it kept happening to both of us, but we were trying so hard to get it right. And I think that's the thing, is having people watch that with us, as much as I was embarrassed of it in the moment, knowing that like, okay, we're human, we did it, we were able to power through it, and we learned why we shouldn't be effing it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're asking you to unlearn years and years of programming in a matter of moments.
I'm not mad at it, because out of anybody, we should be getting it right. Like, we are perpetuating the idea that you should be respecting the people in this space. So, yes, we should be getting it right. I think that if anyone has to unlearn it, it's the audience we're speaking to, not us. So just showing that we can make that mistake makes us human.
I don't mind making that mistake. I'll be the one to sit here and take all of the stones being thrown at me, because it wasn't just the he she. It was really, I had a problem with the they them talking to one person. Again, just from programming and how I've learned to say my pronouns in English my entire life.
You know what helps? Just call people by their name.
That's it.
That is
Well, yeah,
the
you can do
easiest
that
thing.
too.
And honestly, if you are not sure, right, let's say you may be looking at someone, I think the best advice I've had for trans people, when someone's trans and maybe they're not as much of a passing trans person, calling them how they're presenting themselves, you know? Him or her, if you're wearing a dress or makeup or something like that, just trying to do that, but just trying to be respectful. Like, I don't think there's a point, or it should bother us so much that someone's trans. Like, that's the weird stuff.
Oh yeah, there's
No, that don't
definitely
bother me.
You know,
nothing's
when you
bothered
have
there.
Janet Mock on, I mean, first of all, she's gorgeous. Not even that, but just successful, brilliant, like, especially with what she's done with Pose. To see those comments after that interview, I was like, why are people so mad?
You know, that's a great point. People don't realize that, right? Like, we bring the Janet Mocks on, and, you know, I can't remember the women that were with Malik Yoba, but our audience gives us flack for that. You know what I mean? Our audience gives us way more flack for that. But then on the other side, the trans community will get upset if we ask the wrong question. So then we ask ourselves, like, man, is it even worth it?
We're just not really Black Lives Matter if we're not including all of them. You know, everybody want to talk about how they're not home.
When we use our platform and bring certain people on, like, we do have to do our research. Like, Janet Mock has books out. Like, we can read that and make sure that we know some of the proper things, because we are in a position where we're bringing someone on to give them a platform to have the respect to be like, okay, let me make sure that I'm familiar, so I'm not asking questions that people in the audience might be asking, but we should be more authoritative on it.
Well,
Right.
see, but
Absolutely.
different things offend different people. Like,
Absolutely.
what we say to Janet Mock might not offend her, but it might offend somebody else. Or what Flame Moreau says might say something. You know,
Absolutely.
it's difficult because we don't know what offends.
I think
you
the
or
platform is the
and then
biggest
when
thing.
we ask, we get in trouble. So it's very difficult.
That's right. We can be asking a question out of straight curiosity, and people still get upset.
Well, and that's the thing. Like in real life, no question is a dumb question. And
That's
to be
right.
very fair, like a lot of us are ignorant. A lot of us are relearning the things that we have learned. Even you're like 70. I'm 30. But you have to unlearn what you've been taught. And all of us as well. Like growing up in the South, I have a different experience than a lot of people that were raised in the North.
Absolutely.
And we do have to be respectful to everyone's experience.
We just don't know enough about the community. Everybody's always talking about their gay cousin. We all got one. But like there's just so much
I mean,
more.
I really
and
do.
Respecting that umbrella is really it. You know, like even the conversation we have a lot with men and bisexuality, like men just be like, nah, he gay. It's like, well, why
it's
are
deeper than dick.
It's deeper than dick. Fluidity is a real
love
thing. It's
that.
just that we've been conditioned to think that your masculinity is in your booty hole. And it's
And
not.
it ain't.
What?
Like men feel like, you know, if I have sex with men, I mean, they ain't gonna, I'm a top, or they're not gonna fuck me in the ass. And it's like, what? Who cares?
Yeah, your manhood is not defined by the access to your Buddha hole.
That's right, Peg the Stallion.
Wait, that's
You let 'em
that's-
know.
Power to the Peggers.
That's a chapter in the Horrible Decisions book. I need to hear more. What is it?
So pegging is a term coined
Jesus.
by a man named Dan Savage. It's when some woman puts a strap-on and penetrates a man. And pop culture has shown it, like, shout out to Broad City. I think that was, like, the first time people really got to see it. And then over time, like, when we first started our show, Mandy was like, we can't talk about this. Black people ain't ready for this yet. And next thing you know, they're calling her Peggy.
Yeah,
but
that's something I did in my past life before I got into my relationship. And I mean, I enjoyed it. Again,
whatever, I would do it tonight.
I mean, my man currently is not into it, but he's also respectful to the things that I've done, that I've tried, that I've experienced. And I enjoyed that power. But I also did have a lot of conversations as well with the men that I did it with, because they battled with if this is something that anyone should ever know. And I mean, there was a lot of trust there, but they did question. But I'm a woman.
Listen, if you could
do
take a
something with
finger-
woman, if you do something with a woman, that doesn't make you gay.
No, it
just
doesn't.
because they play with your booty hole.
But I couldn't look you in the eye afterwards. Especially tell the
So
truth.
just get it from the back.
Tell the truth, Mandy. When you see guys that you pegged in the past,
Yes.
what do you tell your girls? Like, I pegged that nigga.
No, I mean, I do have videos in my phone.
Whoa.
But
Yo, Mandy, tell them about that video with you. Can I say this on the radio?
Yes, you can.
Basically, with the dude on his back when you was jerking him off, that was a great video.
What
was I
happened?
doing?
What?
Oh, when I was pegging.
She was pregnant, but it was like missionary, so it was lovely. There was a lot of feeling in it.
There was love there. I mean, again, anything done in the bedroom, whether someone's into kinks, like I said, we talked about golden showers, diapers, diaper changing, feet things. I think it's important that whatever you do it with someone that you do respect. So I would never feel like I couldn't look someone in the eyes after we shared an intimate moment, because there's still a level of respect there. If I shared the bed with you and I gave you all of me in that moment as well. So
Sometimes
no.
I get so nasty, I feel like I can't look somebody in the eye.
Yeah, no, I'll
I'd
look
be
them
like,
in the
okay.
eye. I'll kiss them, we'll hug, we'll cuddle.
Have you ever pegged a notable figure? Like somebody that the world may know?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What field? Sports?
You're a pig in shit right now.
Entertainment?
You hate shit.
What field?
The field of humans.
Yeah.
Human beings.
But people know him, though? Like, people know this person?
You know,
Definitely.
I mean,
Definitely?
I mean,
Sorry.
a lot of people know a lot of people.
Is he a rapper? Let's say if is he a rapper? So
No, I don't. I've never been with a rapper.
he's probably like a ball
Well,
player.
actually, wait, that was a lie. I've only been with one, but he don't really count because
Why?
he ain't go platinum
Why
or
does
nothing.
it count?
So it was
you
a ball
have.
player?
You've been with that popular one.
How tall
Oh
was
wait,
he?
I was
He
with him
fine.
too. Oh yeah, he was fine. That was like a one night thing in Miami. That doesn't count either.
It does.
As women, we just
See, that's why I got my number, because I count them. I'd be like, let me put this in my notes.
How tall was the man you pegged?
I mean,
That's-
the
we know
tallest
it.
man I have pegged.
No,
I
the
pegged
one that's a
multiple
celebrity.
People. 6'10".
Oh, he played ball. Who he play for?
You finished or you done? That's what y'all say over here, right?
I want to know who he plays for. Who does he play for?
Why are you so concerned
You
about
see
who
what
it
I
is?
mean?
Charlamagne
Because
want
he
to
probably
call
want
him.
to ask for tips.
Call him and want to call him.
I
You wrong.
want to know what he's averaging. I want to know what he's averaging now.
I ain't playing with you. He's you know.
He's a catcher.
Yeah.
Jesus
Man,
Christ.
if you had to say, if you had to name a number percentage wise, like what percentage of men do you think like things in their butt?
Oh my God. I would say at least 65.
I think that we don't know because
I mean,
people
I'm-
aren't relaxed enough to try it, or they don't feel like they're with someone trustworthy, right?
It has to do with, you'd be surprised. It has so much more to do with the woman, not the man. A lot of men have this trauma of not relinquishing power, not really being themselves in the bedroom.
Because think about how
based upon
women
everything.
treat you, right? Like if you don't even want to sleep with me tonight, or you're not looking at me, or you don't want my number, what are you, gay? It's like women perpetuate that homophobia a lot more than men sometimes, and it's like a cycle. Because if men aren't comfortable enough to present something to women in an open space, why would they do anything with you? There's a lot of consent issues actually that men have with women that they don't say, right? Like being forced to have sex with someone because they don't want to be looked at a certain way. It happens on both sides, but as it pertains to homophobia though, and doing things in your own ass, like definitely I think women can do that.
I've always told women to always make sure to put something in a guy's ass because then they can never disrespect you. As soon as they get out of line, you can be like, I fucking pegged you.
But that's the problem too. Like, there's so many things in sex that should never be weaponized. You shouldn't weaponize the things that you do with anybody. So, like,
Except shit.
You weaponize an ass eating. Come on now.
no.
Yes, you
How do you
Yeah,
weaponize ass eating?
So
That's
many
so
guys
vanilla.
like it
Like, yo,
that it's
you,
hard.
you talk shit to me, I'll be like, yo, but you ate my ass.
I feel like that's a pretty normal thing.
That's,
though.
I thought that was a normal thing.
I feel
now.
like I can't say like
Eating
that's
ass
why
is-
you ate my ass. He gonna be like, so?
Eating ass
Maybe
is like
now.
kissing someone now.
Yeah, nowadays. Yeah. Not 4 or
No,
5 years
I don't
ago,
think
though.
so, Fandy. I don't think so.
No?
Eating ass is like kissing someone?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as bad because of COVID.
Janae Aiko normalized it a lot when she said eat the booty like groceries.
Like groceries.
Yeah, she did. She did.
I don't know
But
which
older-
aisle
young-
she was talking
younger
about, but
artists eat ass, though. When younger artists come up here, they still don't eat ass.
they're lying.
How do you know?
Well, how you get them to play records? How they get you to play records? If they don't eat ass.
They should, man. Like that's why we love people like a Tyler the Creator and stuff, because they be wild and fun. Like I'm so tired of that all. Like I don't do this, I don't eat pussy.
Yo, somebody got to edit that. And we said when younger artists come up here, they don't eat ass.
And now you're snorting.
Because it's
She just snorted
sacred.
at me. Yes.
That was fun.
Listen,
Every time we have an artist, a younger artist come up, we should play it.
yes, we should. Now, what do you say to people who might accuse y'all, accuse horrible decisions of being counteractive
In what way?
to the Me Too
Yeah.
movement?
Oh, counteractive to me too. Absolutely,
Oh, absolutely
bro.
not. We've actually been featured on HBO for a consent documentary. They came and joined us at one of our live shows, and I think
I saw
Wax
that.
was in it.
I
yeah,
saw that.
Wax was there. I think that's one of the biggest things that we actually do talk about. We talk about if you're a woman and you're uncomfortable in a space, you have the right to change your mind. You have the right to say no.
We
you
talk
have the
about-
right to leave. Also, really having those conversations as far as how a man can know that you're consenting, and just as a woman, not just giving body language, but speaking like what you want, what you don't want. And we also the last couple episodes, we've tried ways to make consent sexy.
The
That's
best
thing.
moment I've ever had with consent, I didn't realize it was happening. I was super drunk, maybe like my third or fourth date with this guy. I knew we were going to have sex that night. I could feel it coming. And I only know that because I put on the right underwear for it. But I was like, if I put this on, I'm definitely going to give it up. So he comes
But he
up
don't know that, though.
Yeah, but like I felt like once he got me undressed, he was like, "Oh, this bitch was ready." So I get naked, but I am like stumbling a little bit. And every time we were like kissing or certain things would happen, he would ask me like in a really sexy way, like, "Can I take your panties off?" I was like, "Yeah." Like he was just, "Can I touch you here? Like, can I lick you here?" And it was like a game. And the entire time I didn't realize it was consent. And in the morning, I asked him if that's what he was doing. He was like, "Yeah, like I knew you wanted to, but I just still needed to make sure and hear that verbal because I
Smart
didn't want to
man.
feel like you weren't coherent enough to say yes. I needed to hear it."
Yeah.
And I think there's so many things that men could do to prevent that from happening. And honestly, as a woman who's too lit to say yes, like when you find out someone didn't take advantage of you, don't that be making them want to fuck?
Oh my God,
I love
that's
when
so
I wake up
funny.
with my clothes on, like, "Oh, you ain't even try it. All right."
What was that?
I mean, that's
What
me
did you
putting my head down. I get really pleased by men that aren't super forceful with sex. When I was younger and a teenager, I saw that a lot. As an adult, it doesn't really happen, and I have a better judgment of character. But I'm sure there were plenty of times I can remember, in college years, and just knowing that I was in a space feeling like I had to, or they'd be like, "Well, why you come over here?" And not knowing that you should be saying no or feeling so uncomfortable to do it is really where we try to give women the confidence and the power back. Like, yes,
Yeah.
we have on guys that want to fuck feet, but there's also sexual assault victims that have been on horrible decisions, and there's moments where we have to talk about non-consensual, consensual sex. Some women want to be taken advantage of in a way, and you need to figure out a way to do that safely. Like, there's a lot.
Even with rough sex, I mean, we talk about aftercare when having sex with someone, especially if you're into certain kinks. I mean, I would never say that horrible decisions is counterproductive at all in what the Me Too movement stands for, in the liberation of women owning and taking power back in their sexuality. I think that's literally what we stand on since day one. And I think that we do go through that. Without being an expert, we have those conversations about what consent looks like to us and how to also avoid anything happening in the future.
Yeah, I don't think we're at the place in our society where we can have conversations with men about non-consensual, consensual sex.
I mean, you
I-
have to do that with someone
Yeah.
you sincerely trust. But for anyone that doesn't know what that means, it's basically, I don't want to use the R word because it's triggering, but women that want to be, let's say, taken advantage of or have a kidnap fantasy. if
yeah,
you
we
want to
talked
play
about
that
kidnap
out,
fantasies.
you've got to make sure you give the pre-consent to being roughed up, and that so that person can do that with you. But engaging in sex like that is very taboo and scary because men do take it too far. And a lot of people assume that, a rapist or something like that has a certain look, and they don't. I mean, when we talk about Darren Sharper, he's a person who's rich and fine, who wouldn't want to sleep with him, right? But he was into violent sex. And we see things like that happen with like a Ted Bundy. No one could believe he did something because he was attractive to some. But I think that's the thing, is making sure that what you're doing is safe. If you want to partake in that, it takes a lot of trust to have sex like that. Like
100%.
And as much as people think, I'm sure when they, have started dating us, oh, you've got this podcast, you do it all. Like, absolutely not. I am so
we have
emotional, it's crazy.
And we have our boundaries as well. And again, I think that's with dating someone before even having sex. I mean, boundaries are important to draw. Again, we really do. We talk about all of these things. Yeah, we talk about missing condoms and all the crazy stuff too, but we know the importance of also communication as it pertains to talking about sex, not only in the bedroom, but before you get into the bedroom, when you leave the bedroom, making sure that everything that happened, your partner was comfortable with.
Yeah, like if you're going to peg, do it. Like, talk about it at dinner.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Over
peg,
some salmon.
baby.
Oh, my
Let's talk about me and your ass.
Whoa.
Evan said no.
we could add that to the young
So
rappers.
hold on. Have y'all ever said that to a guy? Like, how do y'all feel about pegging?
Yeah.
To have the safe word, though, to have a safe word, I was going to say just back to that conversation. When you decide that's what you want to do and have these fantasies.
Ouch. That's the safe word if I'm getting paid. Yes, it is.
No,
ouch.
Because sometimes pleasure is pain.
There's a safe word. A girl came on and told us she's heard, it was a dom. She said, I've heard more is a safe word. And it's like, that is so
And when
cool.
you're like, oh no.
Not a good safe word.
No, I think a safe word definitely needs to be like, so I mean, Kevin Hart brought even that topic to mainstream with saying pineapples. Pineapples is the word that was his safe word. When something went too far, oh no, pineapples.
What's yours?
I don't really have.
Mine
really
is
feel
stop.
Like I have one.
I never say stop when I'm serious.
Mine is
I'm
Jesus.
enjoying something. Sorry.
Not Jesus.
Jesus.
All right, now my pussy
Come
wet.
to Jesus.
I mean, now my pussy dry. My bad. Come on,
No,
can we not be talking about?
And it hurt when she said her pussy dry. Christ makes Mandy's pussy wet.
Oh my God.
That is the best advertisement for the church
Let's
ever.
go. Drop it low for Jesus, baby. For Jesus.
You know what's ironic about this? I produce a Bible podcast now, and every time I'm in there and she talks about Bible verses, I'd be like, well, I am really a sinner.
Now, is there anything sexual y'all won't do? Because you said there's boundaries.
I'm not into scat, which is
I'm not into scat either.
shit fetish,
The number
poop
2.
fetish. If you
I'm
guys
not
need to
into
hear
that
it.
either.
I also haven't done anal. Everyone's always shocked at this.
Bro, yes, you did.
It didn't go in, Mandy.
The head went in. If the head went in your your
It
vagina,
didn't go
it counts.
in.
If the head goes in, it counts.
If he couldn't do this, it didn't go.
Well, yeah, she claims.
Look, it didn't go in. I'm saving that hole for marriage.
I've done a lot.
Mandy's done the golden showers, which I used to think was so crazy.
What?
And now after all these years, I'm like, pee is nothing.
That's nothing.
What
It's just
is the golden showers? I mean, I know what it is, but how do you do it like in a...
in a sexy way.
Yeah.
You can lay in the shower or like sit on the toilet and then he piss on you and the pee goes into the toilet.
Like, why?
You know, I don't why.
Well, it's a part of BDSM, though.
Yeah, there we go.
What? That's a fucking K-pop group.
BDSM is bondage, dominance, submission, and masochism. So a part of golden showers is dominance and submission, right? Because someone's over you. It's a power thing. It could be a humiliation fetish, depending on how you're doing it. But I mean, yeah, golden showers are like super common, which is crazy.
But it's also so hard. Like when I did it, I had to like sit over the toilet, then get my mind right. Then it started sprinkling out. Then I had to hold it. Then I had to go into the shower.
Yeah.
And then I had to really think and release it again. It really is very hard. And it's like you really have to work on your mind to get you to piss on somebody. It's quite
you know what though? Men are
quite the
halfway
trick.
there. Like if men like that watch, not like basic squirting, but when you're watching like that crazy super volume and it's all over the place on Pornhub, like when it's nonstop squirting, like that's pee. So as long as it's clear, why do they care?
Yeah.
You been peed on yet?
I mean, my wife's a squirter, so yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's some pee in there.
I mean,
Maybe
there's
some
female
droplets.
ejaculation, but I'm sure you've had a little.
I don't mind it.
Did you drink it up?
Now I let it hit the chin. I don't stop.
What about you, Envy?
Squirter, yes. Pee, like, toilet, like, no.
He said like toilet.
Like toilet. He did a leg lift like a dog.
Would you say that horrible decisions and even podcasts like Lip Service, would you say that they're acts of rebellion against like the dehumanization
They're
of
the complete
black women,
complete
how
opposite.
sexuality is represented?
That's ownership. You think about
Okay.
lip service, right? I think the thing with lip service that's interesting is when you watch somebody like that, like Ange, right? You've been around for years and like you're talking about this, like it's like, oh, you know, you're making people.
That just sounds
Did that sound really bad? I didn't mean.
It did. It sounded
years
kind of.
talking about this.
Let me rephrase. I really didn't mean it that way. I meant like someone that's a celebrity and like
Envy's an asshole.
he is heavy on the asshole.
Heavy on the asshole.
And part of the
Gave me
reason
an
why
asshole.
I started lip services because there would be all these women who were like video models and in the magazines, and you never would get to hear them speak. And so people would just like, you know, be fantasizing over these women, but I wanted to show who they were, like personality wise, and give them a platform. A lot of times it would be like guys interviewing them, and it would be a different type of interview than when you're with your girls. I remember Envy came in when I first started it one time at
Oh,
Sirius,
spill the
and he
tea.
was so, and it was like the only time that guys felt a little overwhelmed and a little nervous
Because
I
they're
felt
not
like
used to being in that place.
But I
they're not
also
used
love.
to being the only guy.
But I also love that you did that because I mean, there was a whole joke like hoes read books too. Like people assume like because we suck dick, we can't have degrees or go to school or be intelligent or be smart because we like to do certain things. And so I think that
There is a connotation with the lack of education with quote unquote promiscuous acts, right? Like, I think that was why that white girl got so popular that was doing porn from Duke, right? Like, black women have been doing that for a long time, and probably Latinas too, right? Like, hoeing to pay the bills, and then this white girl suddenly is like, oh my God, yeah, I go to Duke and do that. Like, it's just so weird. I don't really feel like I've ever had to dumb myself down for horrible
Agreed.
decisions, but people may look at it that way, right? Like, they're always shocked when we say we've got a job, which is hilarious. You know, Mandy and I both own multiple businesses and have employees and really work at our craft. We've toured on our own before we even had agents. Like, the Black Effect is the first chance we've really gotten to even sign a paper. We've been indie for so long. And I think that knowing that it comes from someone that you may respect, maybe you can listen, because people already have in their minds that they can't hear somebody else do it. Like hearing a sex worker talk, we have to treat those episodes with so much care, because I don't want you to look at these people like they're beneath us, because they're not. You know,
I
sex
used to
work.
see you walking in Wall Street when you was on like lunch break.
Yeah,
When
man.
you was working in corporate America. I was like, that's Wheezy.
I know, right?
You had on your suit.
oh my God, if you go on YouTube and look at, we used to go to the studio right after work.
The only reason we stopped doing our regular job, to be honest, is because people were started recognizing us and horrible
yeah.
decisions came so big. Which is funny because people would tell me, like, you make all this money from corporate. Like, why would you ruin your job talking about sex? And the way that I started to see it change people's lives, I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm always going to be able to go back to the office. This is my prime. And honestly, I wouldn't care to go back to a desk if we ever stop
No,
podcasting.
I ain't never
back.
going
Yeah.
back to no desk.
I don't
ain't
think
never,
nothing is wrong with working at a desk, and it's not that
I'm
crazy.
not saying there's nothing wrong. That's definitely something that like I never want to do again. I mean, and I also just come from a family, like me having a savings account is a big deal. Like, so I'm even going through just like learning money, honestly. Like growing up, we like Section 8, food stamps, like no one, like if something happened to the car, we were damned for the next month and a half as my mom played catch up. So to be in a position now that I literally have spent the money that I literally was making as a salary just a year and a half ago, that's even something where I'm just like, you know, and I didn't want to really get deep into it, but there is like a level of poverty PTSD. So now to be in a space where I'm making the money, me saying I don't want to go back, I was giving 70 hours a week as a tax accountant. So now I feel guilty if I take a day off. If I was giving the white man 70 hours, I should be able to give myself 100.
right.
And I mean, that's just where I'm really now, I want to stay doing what I'm doing and propelling, and I just never want to work for anyone else
I just
again.
kind of miss the cheap insurance, to be honest.
Oh, that part too.
The cheap insurance, like health
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah,
health
man,
insurance.
do private insurance like $700. I just miss that cheap shit. Being able to like, you know, get that the buy-in with the stocks for the company. But I mean, now I think what really our podcast has done for us that's cool. Some of our listeners love it, some hate it, because we've both built different businesses. You know, Mandy's selling feminine products. I opened a podcast studio. You come there, and like it's really been able to help us with other ventures that we never saw coming. But the reason I say I'm not scared to go back is because if entertainment is a moment in my life, then I'm cool with it. This brain isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? The tenure I have in the office isn't going anywhere. Like if I wanted to go back, I could. But this moment, how important it is really why I love it. Like going on tour was the craziest thing. We had that woman that had cancer, right? That came with her husband smiling, laughing about how they used to go to like swinger parties and stuff. And
we've had people bring their grandmas and moms to our shows. Like, there's
crazy.
There's been a lot.
And be talking about cream pies.
I went to one of y'all shows. Y'all shows are nuts. I went to the one that was that Sony Hall? Was it?
Sony Hall. We
Sony
did
Hall?
two
Yeah.
back-to-back
there was a little white
sellouts.
man on a leash walking around. Yeah.
Yes, y'all had a white man on a leash walking around, which I thoroughly enjoyed, by the way.
See, me too. It's
Yeah.
it's just a great little
Being led by a black woman. That's
I
how
loved
we
it.
do it.
No, I love y'all because y'all, like, number one, I love y'all chemistry, but also just because y'all represent the essence of podcasting. Like, we're in an era now where, like, you know, celebrities and comedians and rappers, everybody got a podcast, but, like, y'all are two people who came from the corporate world, had something to say, and it took off. That is what the essence of podcasting is.
It's crazy because, like, you know, I just started filming and writing for this TV show, and you're on it. And one of the things somebody said to me was like, well, what are you known for? And I was like, a podcast. But right before that, because people are so used to celebrities doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Nobody's famous from podcasting, which makes it crazy when we're walking down the street because our fans are
The
different.
Read.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Reed.
yeah,
Horrible
sorry.
Decisions,
The
The Read.
Obviously, the OGs, like
The
all
OGs,
Mecca,
Crystal
hail
and-
to the
Crystal
Reed.
and Fury,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
It's just, damn, the Reed's so big now, I don't even count them as
Yeah.
normal anymore.
I guess when you think about it, even when you think about somebody like Joe Rogan, like Rogan was
Nah, he was a
host of
comic.
Fear Factor.
I was about to say, he was the host of
UFC.
Fear Factor, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, we used to be on our lunch break getting recognized. Actually, I went to a client, I can't say who, but I used to install Ethernet and disaster recovery software. And this client was like, hey, you look kind of familiar. I was like, really? And I'm with my boss, and I'm shaking, like, what's he going to say? And he was like, don't you host that? I was like, yes, I do host the offices and their lunch dinners, and I take clients out. I'm freaking out thinking that, you know, they'll out me. So it's nice to just be out and loud and proud. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
feel like we came out as gay since when we quit our job.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Y'all got merch with y'all, right?
Oh, I got some stuff for y'all. Y'all ain't here, but yeah, I got
The
some
Black
stuff for y'all.
Sexcellence. See, we got to get y'all
I
some
want
stuff.
it. It's just the Buddha Hole T-shirt.
Oh, okay, I'll get you that. I do have a relax. It's just a Buddha hole, and then you really do have to relax, Charlamagne, so that Buddha hole goes.
I have had things in my butt before. I've never
Oh.
denied it.
Just these, right?
Yeah, my wife has put fingers in
That
my
Well,
butt.
doesn't count.
that's the starter kit to something else.
No, it's not.
Sure is.
And
Absolutely not.
do you put your hands up there? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it?
Put your hands up there.
I'm not a fan of that. I don't even like fingers in my butt though, so I don't even like it.
I gotta be.
I'm
You gotta
not a
spit
butt-
on him first. Dudes be trying to put a dry finger in there. I'd be like, bro, what porn did you watch that made you think the plugging the butt was fun for me? It's not. Spit on it. Do
No,
something.
it's because of its future.
Future.
You gotta blame
Yeah.
Future.
What
It's
I'm
future.
gonna put my thumb in her
your
butt.
Oh.
Yeah, that's who we're blaming
Well.
now.
Sometimes that'll just take it all the way back down to zero for me. If you just do that, I'll be like, all right.
These young rappers ain't doing it though, huh?
Thank you, Weezy. We appreciate y'all for
That's
joining
right.
us.
Subscribe.
Thank
to the-
you,
Make sure you
guys.
subscribe to the Horrible Decisions podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. Available everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Type in horror, we pop up.
That's right. Weezy, Mandy, tell them, give them the website and stuff where to buy merch. All
Yeah,
that good
you guys
stuff.
can buy merch. We have a really dope sweater right now called Black Sexcellence. No kink shaming underneath it, amidst a whole bunch of other stuff. Last night I made a horrible decision. You guys can get that on whorehive.com. And also you can literally listen to us where you listen to your favorite podcast, but make sure you check us out on the iHeartMedia app.
That's
Well,
right.
damn. Do another commercial.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
loved
you
it.
know, I've been practicing.
She about to take your job, Ange. That's what she's trying to do.
Weezy and Mandy, thank you. And tell them, give me your individual.
Oh yeah, my handle's
Instagram.
Wheezy WTF. You could check me out on Horrible Decisions. I have another podcast called For Fact's Sake about random facts. I produced one called Bible Stories with Brianda, and I have a TV show coming out on Fuse. It's called Sex Sells. It's all about people that make money from sex without having it, and the economic development of sex and money.
Hey.
Yeah, and hi guys, you guys can follow me everywhere at Full Court Pumps. I am also the host of 2 other podcasts as well. One called See the Thing Is with my good girl Bridget Kelly, and
What
then
up,
I
Bridget?
also have another podcast called Period Sis. I am also the owner and founder of Official Box Owner. So I am educating women on making sure that their box is clean because that's very important in and out of the bedroom. So I have 2 feminine hygiene care products. I have boric acid suppositories as well as apple cider vinegar gummies and a quarterly subscription
She'll come
box.
clean it out for you. That's what she
Yeah,
did.
no, that's not a part of when you buy your products, but you can get all of that over at officialboxowner.com.
Oh, and if you watch Brilliant Idiots. Come through the studio, WTF Media. We could shoot your podcast there. We're located right in Soho. It's black owned and black as hell. So
They getting that money.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
peace, y'all. Thanks for having us.